how do I get a K24A2 engine for free? Just stay tuned and I'll show you how. This isn't BS. Welcome to Garv Car Garage. What's up, people? My name's Dave. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Garv Car Garage. And today, we're turning this Acura TSX into cash. Well, the reason I bought this is I'm working on a project that's going to require the best K-series motor Honda ever produced, the K24A2. Now, the K24A2 in North America only came in the 2004 to 2008 Acura TSXs. So pricing it up from a local scrapyard, I was looking at about $800, or online people selling them between $700 to $1,100. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to rebuild the motor anyway. So as long as I can get a running good example, why would I pay somebody else to pull a motor when I can buy a whole car and hopefully part the rest of it out to get this motor for free? So the entirety of this video, we are going to attempt to pull as many parts off this car as possible so this motor ends up costing us nothing. In fact, we are hoping that this motor ends up making me money to fund the rest of that project. Now, I'm not going to say what the project is right now, but it's going to be pretty exciting. So stay tuned. We're going to rip this TSX apart, get as many good usable parts off of it, and then we'll do a tally of what I've sold them for. Well, let's get going. So this is the legendary Honda K24A2 with the RBB3 head. This arguably is the best K-series motor ever made. Now, you'll have a couple of different schools of thought on it, but for the application that I'm looking to put it in, there is not a better motor to put in this vehicle. The idea is pull the motor, part the car. This is how we're looking to get a K24A2 for free. We have some brand new calipers, pretty decent condition interior. I mean, not without wear, but everything I see here, I smell money. Good transmission, that's busted. Rotten in places, which is why this car is not worth saving. At 320,000 kilometers, with the amount of issues that this car has going on with it, it really wouldn't be worth saving a car of this mileage with the complicated engine light and ABS issues that we've got going on. So we're gonna rip this TSX apart. We're gonna sell off as many of the parts as we can so I can get that K24A2 absolutely free. Pita bread in the airbox, non-chewed filters, but the mice have been living in here. So we're about midnight right now. I've pretty much had enough for today. Maybe made some decent progress. Pretty much the entire wiring harness is disconnected. We've got the battery out, the snorkel off, torque converter both all disconnected, fuel rails off. Most of the harness is completely out of the way. With the axle nuts removed, we went inside. We've got the steering wheel fastened up so we can remove the steering shaft, and then we'll be able to drop the entire cradle down. So tomorrow morning, get the axles out of this thing and we'll get that subframe dropped and removed from the car. So I feel extremely tired, but in 3, 2, 1, and it's the next day. All right, sun is shining, it's a beautiful day. I woke up at the cracking hour of 10 o'clock and I'm back to get this engine out, transmission, whatever. So I think my course of action here is, because I'm by myself and I don't want to crush myself. I'm going to drop the engine, transmission, and cradle assembly all together on the ground, and I'll separate them. Afterwards, I'll lift the body of the car off. Next thing I'm gonna have to do though is, because we are somewhat environmentally friendly here, I'm going to get the AC machine over and I'm going to evacuate the system because I do believe the AC functions. And because this is a technical ozone depleting material, we have to make sure we're evacuating all of the R134A out of the system. So let's get the AC machine hooked up and let's keep ripping and tearing. I think everything is disconnected now. Exhaust is off. So usually you can just take the engine out through the top, but I'm trying to part this thing out. So save the transmission, save the cradle, save all the suspension components. So I'm gonna drop the thing onto axle stands and then lift the body off of it. And hopefully we're not gonna be testing the tensile strength of any wires. I'm gonna set up some jack stands underneath this thing, and then I'll unbolt the subframe and lift the body off. There it is, the mighty K24A2 and its garbage automatic transmission. This is the gold. I don't know if you can see that, but that is the marking on it there, right in the starter housing, K24A2. This is going to become something pretty exciting. This is definitely one of the prettier looking valve covers and motors ever made. And they used to take pride in how an engine looks, unlike now where they're all soulless, lifeless pieces of garbage. But I am very excited for what's to come with this engine. So we're gonna tear some more parts off this car, separate this engine from the cradle. I believe I do have the cradle and rack already sold. So we're gonna figure out where all these parts are going. And hopefully after we get some Facebook Marketplace time done, this engine will cost me absolutely nothing. In fact, other than time, it's gonna pay me to buy this car. So let's keep ripping and tearing and start listing these things on Marketplace and see what kind of money I'm in for. So we got this thing stripped down to pretty much exactly where we want it. Intakes off, exhaust off. So all the belt and accessories on it. I'm gonna keep some of them. Some will be going. Power steering pump going. It is leaking. It was the main cause of the power steering leak on this vehicle. So we're gonna get this thing prepped, cover up the holes, and this is gonna go into storage until we get some parts arriving for it. All in all, great success. The driver's seat is in decent enough shape where I'm gonna take it out, try and restore a little bit of the leather, and see if we can get a couple bucks for this one too. as we can see, most of the components have been stripped back out of it, but what we're gonna wanna grab now is the main wiring harness. I don't need it for the project I'm working on, but someone else may require this harness and PCM for what they're working on. So let's go inside and see if we can find that PCM. If I'm not mistaken, the computer should be under this panel here. There it is in all its glory. And hopefully this computer and harness turns into a little bit of cash for me. There it is, main vehicle wiring harness. So get the PCM out, another hopefully good sellable item. And with the last bolt removed, the computer should just slide out. Yep, that's it. Computer is completely free. We've got the wiring harness removed. All in all, not too bad. Now this thing doesn't look awful. Got the serial number there, so yeah, that should be worth a couple bucks. The other thing I'm hoping to get a couple bucks out of here is the factory radio. Now these things don't hold a ton of value to them, but there is some sort of market on them. I see them on Marketplace going anywhere from $30 to $60 Canadian. So we're going to get this radio completely removed from the vehicle, which involves a couple screws, removing the trim panels, removing the hazard button, and yeah, let's get her out and make some money. Just got to unplug the harness at the back here, removing the cable antenna, all the power and the HVAC, and that's it. Radio is free and clear. And hopefully we're gonna turn this into some cash. The car is completely disassembled and ready to get towed out of here. I got a guy called. He's gonna come and give me $100 of the carcass for what's left of this car. So already I'm down to $1,000. So I'm gonna get the rest of the parts listed on Marketplace, and we'll check back in about a couple of weeks and see where we are as far as money. All right, it's been a couple of weeks since we ripped that car apart. Let's see how we've done on Marketplace. First thing we sold was the wrecked shell. The shell in its condition wasn't worth very much, but we had it hauled away, netted us $100. Second, managed to sell the winter tires and rims it came with, $240. The alloy rims got a cool $200. The catalytic converter, another $200. The rear brake assembly, calipers, pads, and rotors, I got $60. Battery, $60. A front oxygen sensor and the driver's seat, $60. Front bumper assembly with grille, $150. Battery, factory radio, $60. And lastly, the automatic transmission, $200, giving us a grand total $1,230. With the purchase price of the car being $1,100, that nets us a $130 profit and a free K24A2 engine. I told you it can be done. We have a K24A2 for the next project, which we got for absolutely no money whatsoever, and we still have parts left over. So not only do we already make $130 off this car, we still have headlights, rear bumper, tail light, got the RBB intake manifold, I've got the stock exhaust manifold. None of this stuff is worth a ton of money, but when you're talking builds, every dollar counts. So we're hoping to get the rest of this stuff sold off before spring, empty out my totes, and start getting this engine built. So I want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch me today. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you too can get the engine you need for your project for absolutely free as well. I'd like to thank DJ Smokey, the official and exclusive music provider here at Garb Car Garage. Please, if you haven't already, give us a like, give us a subscribe, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Well, yeah, we love to hear from you. And it helps me make more of these. It helps me tear more cars apart, and it helps me build more cars up. So y'all have a great night.
That's all, folks.